My name is Gabriel Umar, and I am an Australian citizen. I decided to accept Islam. I am not a victim here. I don't have Stockholm syndrome. I ask you all to open your hearts to the Afghan people. Like everyone else, there is good and bad, but 90% of the time that I spent with these people, it was a revelation for me. My name is Gabriel Umar, and I am an Australian citizen. I am currently living in the Islamic Emirate of Afghanistan. This is not the first time I have been to Afghanistan. I originally came to Afghanistan in 2016. I have been working as a professor at universities teaching English for approximately 20 years. And after teaching in over a dozen countries around the world, I finally ended up in Afghanistan. It was always my dream to come to Afghanistan because my grandmother used to tell me stories of Ali Baba and 1001 Nights when I was a little boy. So this was my original motivation.
Could you explain how was your experience in prison?
Prison is difficult, particularly during the occupation in Afghanistan. It was a very dangerous time. I was kept in villages, Pashtun villages in the south of the country, which were heavily bombed throughout the entire period I was in captivity. We would have to be taken into tunnels. There were raids, night raids would come in. We heard that civilians were being killed. The situation was very volatile, and not only to do with the occupying forces, but also to do with Daesh. At that time, Daesh were causing problems, and this was also something that affected me during my time in captivity. I decided to accept Islam for a combination of reasons, and the first was because of my captors. I spent a lot of time with the Taliban. I spent 1,192 days with them, to be exact. And like everyone else, there is good and bad, but 90% of the time that I spent with these people, it was a revelation for me. It was such a difference to the world that I had lived in before, that I could see people who were truly filled with faith, and that faith was Islam. In the second year, I was given some literature to read, and I started to explore the religion and to ask questions and to ask myself. And finally, through the example of the people around me, and also through a feeling that came from my own heart, I decided to accept Islam. It was not forced on me, like many people say. I am not a victim here. I don't have Stockholm syndrome. I simply made a decision based on what I saw around me and on what I felt inside me, and I accepted Islam. It has changed my life completely. It has brought a great peace to me. Even going through the captivity, and after my release, I was diagnosed with cancer. I've had 11 operations and 2 months of radiotherapy. Everything has led me back to this country, Afghanistan, and to the people that I spent 3.5 years in captivity with. So, when you ask me what led me to Islam in the end, the only answer really to that is Allah, subhanahu wa ta'ala.
How do you feel that you return back to Afghanistan?
I returned to Afghanistan because I made a promise to Allah to help the children of Afghanistan. I'm an educator, and I could see that during my period in captivity that the children in the areas where I was held hostage had no access to education, or very little access to education. And at that time I made a promise to return to Afghanistan if Allah spared my life and allowed me to live. It's a promise that I have always intended to keep since I was released. Even as I was being released, I spoke with the Taliban captors about returning to them one day. So I have come back here to work on a charity to build schools for girls. I have also come back here because I have great hope for the country of Afghanistan. And this hope stems from the people of Afghanistan. No other country or people could go through 53 years of war, of grief, of desolation, and of loss, and still have a strength of faith that I have never seen anywhere else in the world. And I also believe in the Islamic Emirate of Afghanistan. I believe that it is helping the people of Afghanistan. I'm not going to say that I agree with everything. Of course, there are many things that still need to be improved. I am here on the ground, and what I see here on the ground is that the Islamic Emirate of Afghanistan, the Mujahideen, the defense forces, the people of Afghanistan, they are all working together to create a better future for the Afghan people. I hope that the international community, those who are already supporting Afghanistan, such as Turkey, China, Qatar, and even America and the United Kingdom, all those who are supporting Afghanistan and the Afghan people, that they continue to do so, and those countries which are not, like my own, Australia, and many others who are judging the Afghan people on the basis of propaganda and a false diaspora narrative, that they look past this and that they see a people who are in need, and a people who are very deserving, and a people who in fact the world owes a debt to. I ask you all to open your hearts to the Afghan people. I ask you all to reflect on what they have suffered, and that it is their strength of faith in Islam that has brought them together as a united Afghanistan. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless and protect the people of Afghanistan, and may He raise the Islamic Emirate of Afghanistan in prosperity and security, and to take away all threats that are hampering its progress. Ameen.